Cheer on your favorites. This is still a slam. You can still do the sounds and clap and yell. Now is Jeremy Springsteed.
The coffee's gone cold and there are socks to sew. But we were talking about beach fires and the heat required to ignite salt-watered logs. Or we were talking about the new year. People keep saying now is the distant future. This is unplanned time and we're wandering around the dark like my wood-hungry hands on the nighttime shore. Seems, though, that the buses keep running and rocks on the Northern California coast still receive waves. We were talking about socks and the future, and I was thinking that it could be time to mention my feet and talk about boots buried in flames that lick high as my eyes, or the Chinese restaurant on the 101 North, right before the road pushes from the Washington shore. The waitress is nice, but sad. I sit with my sweet and sour pork and wonder about her life, and was there a better time in this town? There's no way to tell the truth about it. I'm sure she's as alone as me, but in the situation, I can only order more tea. The coffee's gone cold, and I've washed the stiff out of my socks. You never see the socks on the feet of the drivers going the other way. But we were talking about the future of small coastal towns. I don't know how those people live, but I feel unskilled around them. When the low tide pulls beyond the shelf, I know better than to walk down to the surf. Days before the future happened, an 8-year-old girl on the beach asked me to defy death with her. I wanted to tell her about riptide and sneaker waves, failed marriages, and the dream of waves meeting in Kansas, how the effects of the Pacific last. But there's been no moon in months, and the dark skies gather over me. I'm sure they're smirking. Or are we talking about how arbitrary the calendar is, and the terrible tick at the end of the clock? There are trees on that road older than God, and children on the beaches bigger than death. There are men who live walking the highway, and I'm not sure anyone misses them. Of course, it's romantic to wander off, to sleep in the always wet woods. We were talking about driftwood, and how did it get there? I imagine that the other half of the tree that I burnt is still in the soil in Asia, floating for years across huge open space, deposited here from my plots of transformative fire. You ask me about currents, and I'm unsure if at this point I should mention hitchhikers. The walkaway has always been a steady undertow. Still, I keep my vessel headed towards home. I was explaining what it is to be missed. In not being there, we are vaporous angels. When I was younger, I disappeared, leaving only an empty room as a clue. A girl fell in love with the vanished me, and when I returned, we nearly killed each other. Now we are both ghosts, and love that we only speak to the memory of us. But we were talking about absence for the holidays, and whether return is really possible. When I almost died in the riptide, I left for the underwater kingdom. The sea and the shore fought over my body. Spit up on the sand, the cross was the first sight to my eyes. Rebaptized in the crushing surf, my aquatic ghost watched my landlocked body in horror. But we were talking about holiday meals and what one can find to eat on the side of the road, and what does hunger mean? Have you ever had hobo soup? Every gas station from Westport, Washington to San Francisco has my hungry ghost filling spectral pockets with ketchup packets. I was telling you that I leave a wake of phantoms everywhere I go. Some head north, others south. They are more perfect than I'll ever be. They are my Christ shadows trying to order a drink at a roadside bar. But we were talking, and ghosts of trees were floating. My ocean ghost was singing, and my hand goes on time-telling.
Next round, we have Larry Crist.
Blame, a partial list. First, I blame this awkward opening for which I have only myself to blame. I blame protocol, which says everything must have a beginning. I blame you for just sitting there and beat my chest because it is the only acceptable portion of my body I can beat in public. But it's early. Ask not for whom the blame tolls, all will unfold. Blame isms in Greek, Sisyphus in rock, Aristotle in his poetics, Rabelais' rants, Cervantes, Shakespeare, and everything anyone has ever written. Blame Gutenberg, Simon & Schuster, Grove Press, those who don't read, and those who read too much into everything. Blame beings, magical, gaseous, and metaphorical, those who crunch fantastical. Blame nations and Haitians, Cortez, Columbus, Custer. Blame the French, Dutch, British. Blame the president who carries the same blame as stained the one before. Blame power and power outages. Blame hip-hop, rap, soul, country. Blame the FCC, long-playing LPs. Blame TV. Blame YouTube and fast food. Blame the waitress. Blame that thing she forgot that took too long. Blame traffic and weather, whether or not it be fair. Blame God. Blame that which cannot blame back. Blame mom, blame dad, blame their divorce. Blame them just cause. Blame their youth, their error. Blame society and the society it keeps. Write a poem. Blame that. Blame your writing teacher. Blame everyone who failed to stop you. Blame boredom and whoredom and substandard of living standardly. Blame the church. Blame Catholics, Jews, Christians, Mormons, Muslims, Hindus, Zoroastrians, Confucians, and your little Buddha too. Blame continental drift, whoever was at fault. Those continents should pay more attention. Blame cell phones and texting. Blame teenagers. Blame technology. Blame city council, city management, underground overcost. Blame the bridge for being up and that boat that sailed belowly too slowly. Blame the homeless. Blame and kick everything, especially those without legs. Blame Congress and cronies, back scratchers, palm greasers, midnight wheeler dealers, ankle grabbers, procrastinators, eager fellatiators, legislators, floggers and bloggers, self-starters, latecomers, and those who show up on time with their own excuses. Blame emotions, hormones, high fructose corn syrup. Blame men and women and trannies in transition. Blame lubricants, flies and ointments, bees in bonnets, embedded saddle burrs, open-toed sandals, engine grit, wayward pebbles, blisters, splinters, static cling, errant ball bearings, lost marbles, waxy buildup, ripped nails, dull razors, cold sores, artificial artifacts, esoteric heirlooms, frisky fornicators, hyperactivity, and ghosts in the machine. Blame that smug mechanic at Jiffy Lube who said everything looked okay. Blame liberals and all windbag demigods, radio ranters, easy listening listeners, Muzak, NPR pledge drives, and supporting members like you and me. I blame the first joint I ever smoked and that final drink I had night before last. I blame Alan Smoot, who lived across the street and who I used to fight every Saturday afternoon because there was nothing else to do. There's lots of blame to go around. I'd like to blame everything I have so far failed to blame because blame seemed too easy and obvious, a cop-out, too damn blameworthy, like lawyers, for instance, or the poems of John Donne. People who wear thick coats on hot days without sweating, vegetarians, vulgarians, tobacco chewers, fishing lures. Special shout-out blame to the sun, moon, stars, and whomever said Pluto could no longer be a planet. I blame spirituality, central heating, indoor plumbing, penicillin, badly drawn cartoons, Republicans, and Ralph Nader. I blame every film ever made by John Wayne and John Ford, and those they made together I blame doubly. I blame Hope and Crosby, Clinton's second term, rising oil prices, and falling standardized test scores. I blame fluoride, lead in the pipes, in the paint, lead in the goalie's ass, which led to yet another tie, with 4-star blame to the academy for which it stands, scapegoats in the rough, genetics in general, fireworks in the tall, dry grass, hot pants, fishnets, dominatrixes, and a general disregard for the importance of coasters in our society. I blame pesticide, popsicles, pesticide, regicide, patricide, genocide on ferons, freons, pheromones, and a lack of leadership among our stolen elected officials, as well as the lyrics of Johnny Mercer and all music featuring the accordion or bagpipes. Most of all, I blame the system for which it stands, especially the Masons and other not-so-secret societies whose names escape me, who knew or should have known and should accept the lion's share of blame, with lone exception to the prideless lion itself, hunted and harried, looking up from an eviscerated lamb with blood on its mane, its face, and paws, corralled by corporate wolves while introducing yet another lame-ass movie we've already seen, roaring twice and pleading forgiveness for having been born a beast. Thank you.
Welcome up to our stage, Sara Brickman.
Poem for the men who write poems about women's stories and make themselves look glorious in the telling. You think you know what it's like to be a galaxy that grew around a knife, but you don't. You think you know how the ozone feels, numb and 1,000,000 miles above the earth, full of holes we put there. But you always forget she has the best view of the stars. The things you don't know could fill several mass graves with wedding rings, the dirt you shovel into our mouths unknowingly when we tell our ugly and are brushed aside. You brave, we shrill, you honest, we a spill no one wants to mop up. You say, I am a diamond, to shine so much after being pulled from the darkest mines, but I'm just a rock that's been under pressure a long time. Or you look at me like I'm coal that needs cleaning, but there is no cleaning coal, idiot. You think you have answers for me. Advice I might find useful on how to love my body, love myself. Apologies for men you will make from a stage, but never quite know how to phrase to the wandering hands at the bar, the street corner hyenas with the choke chain voices. Do you ever get tired of pinning butterflies to cork, of rummaging through baskets of skulls, to measure the width of our noses, just trying to boil us down to something scientific? Did you know, when salmon return to the place of their birth to spawn, their bodies are destroyed on the journey and they make love in the water already dying? Good intentions can make us do crazy things. Fuck with our skin coming off. Speak before we look to see if somebody else is already speaking. Build a bomb shelter in a nuclear wasteland. It's true that in the wild, some animals will help lesser animals stay alive in forest fires, avalanches, like they know their continued survival relies on having something lower in the food chain to devour when they get out of the snowdrift. It's true. Solidarity is a thing that can exist, can be necessary. But no bear tries to give the salmon tips on how to swim when its body is 100 times heavier than lightning quick, when all instructions have to pass through the bear's pointed teeth just to ripple in the salmon's pink flesh back. Do you really want to be the one telling me about resilience through that dripping jaw when every drop of water I swim in has to pass through your mouth first? I swim upstream every day, just to get to somewhere that hasn't lived in your blood. As if my body wasn't decomposing in the water, and I didn't love through it anyway.
Now keep it going for Roberto Ascalon.
The fire this time? Or how come some brown boys get blazed right before class and other questions without marks? How much damn broke does it take to want to burn just before class, lung green with chaos? How many times the police come to the door way past late, your auntie face forlorn and flashing in the turning blue? How much knuckle in a boy fist gotta break cheek till body want to go numb? How much brave you gotta front, pay forward, like a hard stare, like a work muscle jaw? How many legal papers say stay or go, right or nothing, home or jail, love or palm skin? How many words or promises did dad, mom, and God knows who else have to crush so that you spit out your eyes and slouch like a demon, daring me to call out your name as if it had power anyway? As if your own name, when you strangle it out your throat, spilled God stuff. God. Like a broke egg. Baby born into fire. How come fire put you to bed instead of sweet hands? Why they put bad hands? Why bad hands? Why the fire this time, God? Why? We ain't done nothing yet. Nothing yet. And nothing wrong. Except the babies are on fire. Babies burning by the stairs before school begins.
We have coming to the stage now, Rich Smith.
All right, I'm on top of it. This one's called Modern Love. No roses, no heart, no blood, no light, no gaslight, no gondola, no singing, no song, nor soft or smooth or milky skin. No hands, no holding, no pecks, no caresses, no bed, no bathroom wall, no fire, no candles, nothing burning, no fuck, nor any derivation of fuck, no passion, no sun, no moon, nor dearest loved one, no honeyed loved one either, and yet, my honeyed loved one, my dearest lover. The sun's a moon-eyed Lothario, raining down his passionate, if not pathetic, derivative of fuck. Jealous of our burning candles lighting the bathroom wall, our bed of pecks and caresses, our holding hands loosening our skin's milk, our starts and stops smoothing into soft song of a gaslight-lit gondolier, his blood, his overhearing heart, rosing over. Thanks.
Bout 3 of round 1, Morris!
The Architecture of Sorrow, a play in 3 acts. Act 1, Scene 1, an airport bar. Crude facsimiles of dollar bills and sand dollars dangle from above. The bar is staffed by 6'8" double D drag queen, Shirley Martini. Shirley's hair is the color of a diesel explosion. She looks bored. The bar has 3 patrons, 2 seated 3 stools apart, the other at a table some distance away. At the bar, an aging art critic, Rex Hieronymus, withering like a tulip left in a starlet's underwear drawer. And a heavy-set bruiser with a tattoo of the Articles of Confederation beginning on his scalp and continuing down his back, visible through the sheer fiber of his wife-beater, then disappearing into his camo dungarees. At the table, a stone dolman dressed like a commercial pilot. Bruiser. Hey, Shorty! Shirty. Shirty! It's Shirty! The lights grow brighter over 2 count. Hieronymus prepares to speak. Blackout. Scene 2. In a basement. The dolman and the bruiser are lying on the floor. The bruiser picks his teeth with a small bone. The room is suffused with a rose glow and is devoid of furnishing. Dolman. Ever wonder if the universe was a computer simulation and if Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Zoroaster, Gandhi, Alan Watts, Mozart, and Martin Luther and all his namesakes were just tech support? Bruiser. Oh, whoa. Dude. Paper plates fall from the catwalk with the regularity of snowflakes. On some, crayon drawings of the sun. Others are marked by the sign of a baris scrawled in coal. The lights fade slowly in the time it takes an unfaithful husband to forgive his spouse for reading his OkCupid inbox. Act 2, Scene 1. Shirley stands alone center stage in a field of daffodils, clutching a playbill to her hip. Shirley. When I was 16, I co-authored and performed in a musical about the Chinese invasion of Tibet called Hello, Dalai Lama. I played Trinity Gyatso, who appears in a musical dream sequence modeled after the dream in Fiddler on the Roof. She turns, takes a moment to get in character, and turns back to the audience. Chidingly, I pity you, America. I weep for you. I weep for your rose gardens and your rose bowls and your unending crop of Rose McGowans. I weep for Apple computers, apples, and apple pie, for the skywriting ad man who dreams in simulcast, and for the fat-pensed mammons who swallow a new pantheon of manufactured Clipo with names like Agronox and Lunesta. As this great experiment grinds to grisly acquiescence, what have we learned? It's a dog-eat-dog world out there, and I believe in saliva of the fittest. Shirley executes a Z-formation snap. Blackout. Scene 2. Rex Hieronymus and the dolman seated facing each other at a round table. They share a milkshake with 2 straws. Hieronymus. Do you know what your problem is? You've forgotten how to have a good time. All I ever hear from you anymore is human suffering this and imminent collapse of civilization that. You've marched so long, you've forgotten how to dance. Dolman. K. But your problem is you're a pretentious, self-righteous, ineffectual twat. And also, you cribbed that last line from Danger P. Brooks, and you know it. You are literally worse than 1,000 Hitlers. The dolman falls over and is silent. Hieronymus loudly slurps the rest of the milkshake, dabs his lift with a cloth pre-fold, and waddles off stage. The curtain drops with the weight of a vulgar oath spoken at a cotillion. Intermission. Forever. Act 3. A second audience sits on stage and stares at the first. 3 minutes and 10 seconds pass in complete silence. The audience on stage grows restless. Children begin to fidget. A man upstage right checks his watch and clears his throat. The primary audience members transmogrify into hawks, doves, pigeons, moths, and horseflies in descending order of their net worth and fly into the wings. Curtain.
Laura Wachs.
I am a wall that's been painted over so many times I don't know the original color that lies underneath. I don't know if I define with American or Korean. My tongue is a wild pony broke in by English. My heart, a fight between Laura Elizabeth Wachs, Kim Hyo-jin, yin, yang, north, south. Privilege is not a foreign taste in my mouth. I am a middle-class woman thankful for the crease in her eyelids because they make me look Asian, but not too Asian. Raised by a family who jokes. Do you know how Chinese parents name their babies? They throw silverware on the floor, then listen to the sound it makes. Get it? Clink, cling, clang. The author of that joke should have the balls to add chink to the punchline because that's what I am. The chink in the armor of white America. And no, I am not Chinese, but everyone knows all Asians look the same. It's why it's so fun to guess where we came from. My family knows where I came from, knows I grew up in clean sheets on a bed in suburbia. I am as white as they are, yet nothing will stop them or others from judging a book by the cover. Last year, I sat at a hotel bar when I was approached with the pickup line. I hear Koreans are the best in bed. American men, open me like there is a rice paddy between my thighs. Finger my wetness, plant seeds that sprout into thick green stalks that they cut, then pull from my inside. I am a cash crop grown so they can taste something exotic. I wonder if they're disappointed when they bite into my apple pie pussy. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the Republic of South Korea, to beep it, bop it, pull it, twist it, Rice Krispie, Snap Crackle, K-pop, Gundam style, dubstep, English dub, Annyeong Haseyo, yo yo, word dope, kimchi, chia pet, hanbok, bok choy, NFL, Lotus, Buddhism, Christianity, Mark Twain, Thomas Edison, blue jeans, dynasties, Victoria's Secret, cheeseburgers with extra bacon. You want fried rice with that? I don't know if I define with American or Korean. I am a walking anomaly trying to find what makes me ignite.
Please welcome up to the stage, Kris Hall.
An emergence or possibility. Stardust debris speckled in marrow. Your face is a paragraph. Milk brain, stroke. Wake up. There is no echo, only a familiar phrase. Wake up. In the folds of 1999, you were there too, hugging me mid-leap, bodies wriggling in millennium, Bible chapters fluttering in the clutches, clumps of hot pizza, the craters spiders leave behind. Look at my childhood digitally. It is nowhere in this world, maybe okay as a joke though. Some people just don't realize what devotion is. I get drunk, forget what I am doing, and then suddenly remember everything at once. Fireworks raining down like smoldering moths, roasted eggplant, a leg giving out. Every day there is an earthquake coming. Every day I calculate the nooks susceptible to chisels. Discovering I'm with child, crowning palpus, antennae, bug-eye, squirming feelers, my little taco. Quartered onion, weathered by the weather, sniff away from too many wet, matted noses, dead eyes, dead lips, flailing arms, slamming the hoods of cars, limping incognito, muttering, I bet he deserved it, budding spleen, rubbing elbows, and exchanging bad taste in cigarettes. The people here have got their tongues stuck to the freeze. You had such a good time bubbling bits of songs from your chest. Flat in the tub, plank of a man, waltz of a clubbed trout. I've been a ghost. Prove it, he said. Photographs like a squid strangling your face. I can really taste the ocean here. I can smell the salt smacking my tongue against your habanero cider. Stairways made of rubber, hands draping over shadows, a cyclops screaming for his glass eye. Paint naked, they told me. Dig out the mountains, scrape out the sky. Outlet here, USB there. Our little secret. Full frontal, mid-frontal, male, pattern, baldness, ravenous, sullen. What are you looking at? Well, the glow from the screen of my device has become a defense mechanism. What are you looking at? Miles of fabricated space tethering me to you. Where is the bathroom on this dumb truck? What are you looking at? What is he looking at? What is she looking at? Scanning, sweating, heaving, heartbeats. What are you looking at? Well, that is white heat. That is your soul leaving you in a gas. Thank you.
That means upcoming in this round, we will see Larry, Sara, Morris, and Laura. Welcome to the stage, Larry Crist.
This is a poem about our neighborhood. Some of you will recognize this, and maybe some of you live there. And if you do, you're our neighbors, Chris, Clark, and I, where we've lived for the last 2 years. This is called Here on Sodom and Gomorrah Way. Here on Sodom and Gomorrah Way, where the wretched and wicked come out to play, on Used Car Row with its gyrating, undulating, air-powered sock people, where pre-owned girls wiggle and shake on sticky tables, on low-flung stages, gliding and sliding on greasy poles, polished in petroleum, and Pussy Sheen, performing for lonely men and then some. A place called Rick's, cross from Dick's, up the way from Deja Vu, Pandora's, and a couple other joints just like it too. Where traffic drones eternal and a bus is always chugging by, belching, growling, to and fro, dollar stores, pawn shops, discount, gun and green dispensaries, hair and nail, Truffaut, Value Village, dive bar, Fred Meyer's, $10 haircuts, car tows. We have it all. Blacktop rock gardens, discount dentistries, vast stretches of hemmed-in cyclone-fenced monotony, soon-to-open apartmental complexes where working class rubs up against the jerking class, where hustlers and honeys cohabitate beneath a jizz-colored sky. We even have a cemetery, a great place to consume one's head shop purchases or reserve retirement living services. Swan dive slow or dine in fast if need be. Food 24/7, drive-thrus, drive-bys, driving all night. We never rest masturbatoriums, Walgreens and fire engine sirens, where everyone lives in austere compartmental bliss, drives a car with a dent, enjoys a good party, a good fight here in the AM where it is never dark and duly bright. What are you waiting for? An invitation? Consider this your invite. Give it to that big guy beside the pink door over there, the one with no neck and little hair. Tell him Larry sent you. I'll be up the road, walking in a trance, bleeding copiously, waiting for an ambulance. Thank you.
Welcome back up to the stage, Sara Brickman.
2 weeks before Rosh Hashanah, when I will gather with other Jews to hear the shofar played, the ram's horn instrument that announces the start of a new year, my friend says the only form of Jewish strength is survival. I think he is right, until my other friend says, but you have such strong community. You're really good at keeping money in the community. And then I think, we are survivors in one light, and cockroaches our God just cannot kill in another. Community is an interesting word, how it often is substitute for neighborhood or ghetto, for our herding into boxcars 2 by 10,000 for cholera spread through to cull the herd for the closeness of ourselves. A tight constellation of stars shining through the cellars we crouched in, begging to be invisible. It is a funny thing to be invisible and branded at once. Jews, we love a joke. My grandfather was a Holocaust survivor, and you can tell it really affected him because to this day, he won't go near a gas chamber. Money is an interesting concept. How we were barred from any work but gold or trade, already damned, so no one else need dirty their soul. How we were turned away from hospitals, bleeding and pregnant even when we could pay. How there was not enough money in the world to bribe the container ships of America into taking the Jews of Europe away from the borders of knives. Is there a word in Yiddish that means betrayal by a world you thought loved you? A word for how we have passed tradition on underneath the stories of blood suck and gold hoard, for how we still gather in the synagogue's dome like wounded animals, how we out ourselves, like we never want to know the underside of floorboards again, just so we can hear the shofar sing.
And welcome back up to the stage, Morris.
Jesus Christ, bunny superstar. So there I was, in the bunny suit, again. Just like I always will be and have always been, for I am that eternal bunny. I've got more hoes and more money than even old Montana Max. That's no baloney in my slacks. And I will make no wrong turn blunder on the way to Cucamonga, unlike that old Lapanian Bugs. Forget about old Babs and Buster, only I can pass the muster, why I'll make them into bunny rugs to sell at Saks. For I am that bunny, that great eternal bunny whose nose is moist. Come, genuflect upon my cuteness, like as if you had a choice. For I am that eternal bunny who taught hip hop to hop. Do not call me Mr. Snuzzlekins or Professor Flippity 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 Flop, or lay the bunny smackdown on you with my riding crop. Be you serfs or be you kaisers, be you paupers, be you misers, I will surely still assail you with my pointy sharp incisors and my fluffy bunny tail. Be you healthy or a leper, I will make you hoss and pfeffer if you ever dare and step to my eternal bunny rep, for at last the Energizer bunny with his drum. I am older, I am wiser. Beatrix Potter? I despise her! Peter Rabbit's scum, and I'm as nasty as they come, for I've been down to water ship. Told Alarera to get a grip. I've outwitted Blackberry and told Bigwig he's a fairy. Give the Ephra fans the slip, for I am that bunny, I am that bunny, I am that bunny. Rednecks call me jackrabbits call me bunny. One nibble on a carrot is sweeter than Winnie the Pooh's honey. I am that bunny, I am that bunny, I am that bunny. I pray thee, my critters, watch out when you wander in the forest late at night, 'cause I be coming at you, and I'm quite a gruesome sight. I'm the baddest baby bunny boy on all the bunny block, and I'm coming up behind you asking, yo, what up, Doc?
Please, welcome back up to the stage, Laura!
Dear Sylvia, an oven is no place to go searching for answers. All you will find there is uprising. Not even the dough is okay with accepting itself as soft. But you are so soft, trying to cushion the fall of your children, shoving earplugs beneath the crack of the door. You didn't want them to hear, didn't want them to learn so small that when adults need to ask for help, they don't ask at all. Did you believe killing yourself was the only way to make people appreciate you? Did you know your son Nicholas would look for you after you'd gone? Obtain a bachelor in zoology, prefer studying ocean. I think he was obsessed with the way things can breathe underwater. When he hung himself, I wonder if he was picturing you in the bathtub, letting Razor hum songs to your wrist. If that made him think of the gills of fishes. If he ended transfixed on the gutting instead.
Please welcome to the stage, Larry Kris.
Fat Tuesday. The streets were filthy with beads, piss, beer, puke. A week's worth of debauchery settled in a single day, with drunks of every race, class, nationality unified, surrendering and slumming with the bottle. Buttloads of bottles, cans, cups, and those ubiquitous bright green plastic grenades called the Hurricane. Manufactured husks and human husks filled the streets, littered the sidewalks. A plump girl in a tight purple dress and heels ran past us, pursued by a greasy young man, lanky, dark, unctuous, a mustache, looked like he pumped gas for a living. She was blonde, made up, pissed off, stopped beside the building before us. She'd been crying. He grabbed her, tried to kiss her. She clocked him. They fell back into a doorway of a business not open. A half block later, she ran by again, and again he followed, her ass straining through that purple dress, stretched like a second skin. Her fleshy shoulders heavy with anger, heaving with emotion. He grabbed her. She swung at him. He blocked this, held her wrist. She sobbed into the crook of his neck. He stroked her curly, dyed blonde hair. Her eyes bled all over him. The streets are full of staggering, beaded people, some costumed and masked, growing scarier in the dark, trying to be with it, have a good time, score, or a good time gone bad, trying to get out of it, get loose, stay tight, not fall, not get beamed by beads from above, or in our case, rear-ended from behind. As again she raced by, and again he caught up, shook her like you should never shake a baby. She broke his hold, her metal fists spread like flowers. Her painted nails clutched the air. His were extended, stained, pleading. It looked like the end of something or a brand new war-torn beginning. Not a comedy, that's for sure. Last tango in French Quarter. I could already hear the music, minor keys, somber bass, tortured brass. She passed us again, carrying her heels, her fishnet feet black from the street. Everything pulling within that tight hemline, that big, round, purple ass moving up the street like a planet, orbiting weirdly around our gravity. They formed a single silhouette, he into her and she into him, swallowed by the night. Just another couple on Fat Tuesday. Too much something, maybe one another, maybe something else. Full of rage, hurt, hormones, youth, liquor, you name it. These kids had it all. Oh, to be in love like that again.
Please welcome back to the stage, Morris.
Undertow. I told her I never lie to my friends. That is a lie, and not the first I've told her. I waggle my eyebrows at my reflection in the bathroom mirror and return to our table. She's twisting her straw around her finger, gives me an appraising look. The Betty Lou waitress comes by. Is there anything else we need? I tell her she's already filled my cake hole, but there's still plenty of room left in my pie hole. I'm not trying to be vulgar. I only drink tea to pass drug tests. My shirt is an unnatural act, a crime against civilized mores. I drink a lot of tea. She's saying she prefers John Cale as a producer rather than as a performer. I tell her that I prefer Tori Amos as an artichoke rather than as a catapult. That is a lie, too. She barely holds my attention, like a Michael Bay flick holds a plot. Perhaps I will whip out Fearless Leader and brandish him about like a turnip. Perhaps more drinks first. Recently I learned I'm able to record music via a copper cord extending out of the radio and attached through a hole in one of my molars. It's a neat trick. I wouldn't waste it on this one. I leave the bar. The moon contemplates the man. I ride the bus to the bus. I lie on a heap of comics and smoke another bowl. The only person I know who has a good job anymore is my therapist. Each Monday she straps a tail to my ass and locks me in a cardboard maze. At the ends, a fish hook baited with a photo of Megan Fox. Everything comes on hooks lately. Rent money, the dream of parole. Once I pretended to swallow a whole coat rack just to impress a jury girl. I pretend a lot of things, but hardly anyone's ever impressed, just often enough to keep pretending. Every time I drop acid, I see the same pigeon outside my bathroom window. I've never dropped acid. That thing I said about my therapist, that's not true either. I don't really have one. I just tell my dreams to a meter maid in exchange for letting her bum a smoke. Sometimes I invite her up and we fuck tenderly on the sofa. After, I hold her and rock until the ocean swells up to swallow us both. Thank you.
Drum roll. Poetry drum roll with the snapping. Going on to the Beer Slam on May 2nd is Morris. Carry on with your applause for everyone who performs tonight.